Darlings, have I got movies for you today? Okay, so last week, Tower Heist and Young Goethe in Love opened. So let me tell you about both of those, then I'll go on to the myriad of movies that opened this weekend. Tower Heist, as you know, got beat by Puss in Boots. Antonio Banderas kicked Stiller and Murphy's butt. My assistant is convinced it's because nobody likes Brett Ratner. Nobody really likes Brett Ratner after his nasty little comments. And he's now no longer producing the Oscars. Thank you very much. Anyway, Tower Heist. I didn't hate this movie, and I sort of expected to. The story is, it opens with a great shot of Alan Alda swimming in a pool on top of Trump Tower, which is really what it is, with a picture of Benjamin Franklin, you know, the $100 bill on the bottom. So it's a great opening scene. Alan Alda is in great shape. Go Alan. Stars Ben Stiller as basically the head concierge at a luxury hotel / residence. And he's got Casey Affleck, who is working there as well. Turns out he's his brother-in-law. It's got Michael Pena as a new operator, elevator operator. We've got Matthew Broderick as a high roller who's now fallen on bad times. Tia Leone, who plays the FBI agent. Judd Hirsch, who plays the one of the managers in the hotel. All right, so we've got a really, really, really good cast. Eddie Murphy plays, who doesn't come really till the second half of the movie, plays kind of the neighborhood thug. The story is that Alan Alda is kind of a Bernie Madoff kind of figure who has embezzled the funds from the pension fund for all his employees in the hotel, who've also given him private money, and so it's all gone. But Tia, who is the FBI agent, who's actually pretty good in this, whispers to Ben Stiller when she gets a little bit too much to drink that there's $20 million secret away somewhere in the apartment. Ben first goes up to confront Alan, who's his chess buddy, and says, "I can't believe you did this." Alan has a Ferrari in his living room. And Ben takes a golf club to it and smashes the lights, at which point Ben, Michael Pena, and Casey Affleck all get fired. Well, Casey's an expectant father. Michael, so they all decide that they're going to take the law into their own hands and they're going to find the $20 million. Okay, so it now becomes a heist movie. I'm not going to tell you what happens because it's kind of fun. There are some things that actually are not very believable, but you'll get a kick out of it. I mean, I think it's kind of a fun movie. Eddie Murphy brings an energy to the movie that it doesn't have without him, and he's not in a whole lot of scenes. He's actually getting to be a very interesting looking man now at 50 than as he was as a kid. Basically, this is a summer movie, right? It's a silly summer movie that's kind of fun, and it seems a little more temporal than it probably intended to be because of the issues about Wall Street these days. I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was fun. People did not love it. Puss in Boots beat it. And Puss in Boots probably cost a lot less to make. Goethe in Love. This is a really fun movie. Okay, I admit, it's in German with English subtitles. But Goethe was really the first rock star of the modern age. He was a poet. He was gorgeous. He was wealthy. He was a lawyer. He was a good dancer. He was an artist. He wrote Faust. He was kind of super guy. This is the story of him when he was 23 and a student who failed his orals before he became the philosopher. He rode horseback, he fenced, he invented roller skates, he discovered the pharyngeal bone. This is a great guy. A scientist, a traveler, a minister. And he wrote a paperback novel, basically, called The Sorrows of Young Werther. It was basically based on a broken heart of the woman who broke his heart. This is a terrific movie. I know you hate subtitles. Right, but this is a great movie. Young Goethe in Love, really fun, adventurous, about a real figure. I mean, it's terrific. No one will see it. It's great. All right, this week, this is going to be an interesting matchup. We've got Into the Abyss, which no one will see. This is Werner Herzog's latest. And Werner Herzog, as you know, did Agira, the Wrath of God, Nosferatu, Grizzly Man, which I thought was really good. This one he looks at, he also wrote The Bad Lieutenant, Port of New Orleans, Cave of Forgotten Dreams. This is really a departure for him. It's really a documentary. And it turns out that he studied a guy on death row. Now, the problem about this movie, as far as I'm concerned, is severalfold. First of all, there's a much better movie called Incendiary about a very similar case, both having Rick Perry as the favorite governor in Texas who puts people to death who may not be guilty. Go Rick, let's have a debate. The problem about this is, first of all, the people in this one are so unlikable. I mean, so unlikable. But the real problem is Werner Herzog can't get out of his own way. Most documentarians really ask questions and then let the subject respond. And sometimes you don't even hear their voice. So they try and fade in the background. They're kind of the psychotherapist who's not really there and lets the person's unconscious. Werner just can't get out of his own way, and he asks questions that take 15 minutes to ask the question and 3 sentences to answer it. I really was very disappointed, and I'm on his side. I am not in favor of the death penalty when there's any possibility of mistaken, a mistake. And it turns out that Werner was actually the child of the Holocaust and feels that the state should never put anybody to death. And I'm on his side, and I didn't like this movie. I gave it 1 star. So, Into the Abyss. You have to be a real Werner Herzog fan to even sort of semi-like it. Okay, now we've got 3, is it 3 or 4? Because I've got one stuck here. Actually, we've got 4 big movies, all right? And I'll tell you who I think is good. All right, we've got London Boulevard, stars Colin Farrel, who's the guy who's just gotten out of prison and doesn't want to go back. Keira Knightley plays a movie star who needs a bodyguard. Ray Winston plays a mob boss, and Ben Chaplin plays Colin's friends. This is a sort of a good movie. It's fairly violent, and basically it's a first-time director. It's a great story. It's a great cast. First-time directors, a slightly more experienced director, I think, would have done a much better job on this movie. Could have paced it a little bit better. It's very slow, very, very slow. I gave it 2.5 stars. It's worth saying. It's just not terrific. All right, what you're probably going to see rather than London Boulevard. Possibility of Melancholia. Did you see this is actually something that's more or less temporal, because there was an asteroid that just missed the Earth yesterday? Did you know about that? This is a 2-part movie. It's Lars von Trier, who is not one of my favorite directors, to be quite honest. It stars Kirsten Dunst, and it's 2 parts. It's 2 sisters. The first is Justine, who's Kirsten Dunst, and the idea is that she is a very depressed person. We see her at her wedding. She makes a mess of her wedding to the extent that she actually has sex with somebody else on her wedding night. The second part is called Justine, stars her sister, who is played by Charlotte Gainsbourg, who's a much better actress. She's not as pretty, but she's a much better actress. The idea is, and her husband is played by Kiefer Sutherland. Charlotte Rampling has a minor cameo that just steals the movie out. The second part is that there's a planet behind Saturn called Melancholia that's about to hit the Earth, and will it or won't it? So the first part is about depression. The second part is that depressed people, when there's a real problem, may not be so depressed. Questionable. It's a very interesting movie. Too long, 2+ hours. But a thought-provoking movie. I'll tell you, I liked it much better than the day after I saw it than when I saw it. At the time, I'm thinking, oh, please. The next day, it's haunting. So 2.5 stars. Melancholia. Okay, now we've got the 2 biggies. I'll tell you which I think is going to win. We've got J. Edgar, which is the Leo DiCaprio and Clint Eastwood looking at the 50 years of J. Edgar Hoover's career. 8 presidents. The problem about this movie, even though I thought the posters looked great, I like Leo a lot. First of all, the makeup in this sucks. And I know, what am I talking about makeup in a movie? Well, when you're aging somebody 50 years, and almost all the characters, it's really distractingly bad. The idea is it covers everything from 1919, when he was on a bicycle and pedals over to the site of the head of the FBI then's house, which was leveled by a bomb, up until his actual death. Yeah, it includes Clyde Tolson. Yeah, it includes his secretary, who he asked to marry him, and she said no. It includes a little bit of cross-dressing. It includes Judi Dench as his kind of overbearing mother. It really needed to focus. I was really left cold by this, and I was really excited about this. A really interesting man who invented forensic science, but I think it needed to focus either on the, in the secret files, either J. Edgar as kind of a thug that power really corrupted, or as a troubled man. But trying to do all of it, I thought, left me cold. The movie I actually liked the best this week, believe it or not, is The Immortals. It's not The Immortals, it's Immortals. This is the same guy who did the 300, and it's directed by Tarsim Singh, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's about Greek mythology. I personally am a Greek geek, I admit it. I just thought it was a really fun movie. It's incredibly violent. If you know anything about, it helps to know a little bit Greek mythology, but even if you don't, I think it will probably be the kick butt movie of the week. I think it will kick J. Edgar back into the closet. 3.5 stars. That was sort of rude. I think that it will. It's a better movie. It's a more fun movie to watch than J. Edgar. So you've got Immortals. You've got J. Edgar. You've got Melancholia. You've got London Boulevard. You've got Tower Highs. Puss in Boots will probably do fairly well again. You've also got Into the Abyss, only for the hardcore, and Young Character in Love. More information at drjoyreviews.com or drjoy.com.